Hi there, Sifu Per Hacks, and welcome to this first module of the Sequence Masterclass. And you're going to get a great deal of expansion on your chi. And in this short video, I want to just cover three important things. These things you may have heard on the conference call. However, I kind of want to reiterate it and maybe show you a few things in a physical format. First thing is that in the 4 weeks, during the 4 weeks of this program, you should be seeing a transformation. You should be seeing your chi and your mind force go from point A to point B. Now, how we're going to do that is many different ways. The first way we're going to do that is by building up chi energy. And that's why you were given the Chi Power Blueprint System. It's our introductory course. However, it's very powerful. I still get calls from people that say, I've been training with that system for 20 years and it's still great, served me well. So you can certainly graduate to more advanced training, but just know that that is an excellent course. And probably my first 3 years of training was along those lines. The second thing is obviously the Mind Portal, which starts to tie in the mind force aspects, linking up the mind to the body. And then the third is the spiritual aspect, which is internal power centers. Now, what we're going to be looking to do over the next 4 weeks is a transformation. Now, does that mean that you're going to go from here to all the way over here in 4 weeks? Probably not. But what it's going to do is it's going to transform your energy in a way that you can measure it over the next several weeks. And my goal is that you're going to have a starting point, which I've given you a lot of measurement tools that you can use. Obviously, we have a software that you can use to measure everything. I think this is the best breakthrough ever, is to have a system, a software, where you can actually do the exercises and you can write notes. You can go back to those notes a year from now, 2 years from now, and you can see your progress. That's the transformation we're talking about. Oftentimes, transformation doesn't happen in one big jump, right? So if you started lifting weights today and you were 125 pounds, and you're looking to gain 50 pounds, go to 175 pounds, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a gradual process. Well, the same thing here is it's going to take a gradual process of building that up. Now, you may come to this training as an advanced student. That's okay. No matter where you're at in your training, you're going to get advanced techniques that are going to work for you. It's been designed so that it meets you no matter whether you're a beginner or advanced. The techniques are going to work for you. Bottom line, the way that I teach, the concepts, the structure, the sequence. The sequence is so important, understanding the power times that you have and then starting to integrate it and work it. This is a working class though. In order to get that transformation, you got to put it into flight time. You got to go out there and you have to train. Now, it doesn't mean you have to train for hours and hours a day. Of course, if that's your choice, certainly do that. But the sequence is important that you start to work in different layers. So that morning time, that midday time, and then that night time. As you start to use that method, I want to get some feedback from you. And it's really not important that I get the feedback. It's important that you get the feedback. And you start feeling the different feelings that you get when you train at different times of the day, as you do different techniques at different times of the day. It's kind of like you're given these 3 times of the day, although there's probably really 24 combinations, right? 24 hours in a day. You could literally train every hour of the day and get a different response from your body. Now, the biggest differences are going to be in the times that I mentioned, the early morning, midday, and then the nighttime training. You could take it one step further and go into the late time training, which would be after midnight. Totally up to you. And we'll go into a little bit more detail on that. But you want to start mixing up your training, and that includes the physical Qigong training, the Chi Power exercises. I want you to start representing what that's doing to your body and then writing it down in the software. If you don't want to use software, use a journal. Go out and buy a notebook for $1 at the supply store and start writing it down. But you want to document everything. Because a year from now, you want to look back and say, hey, I went through this training and it actually worked for me because I put in the flight time. Very, very important. So you're going to see a 4-week transformation and you're going to use the sequence to its best ability. The next thing is chi magnification. I got a lot of questions about chi magnification, and I wanted to hone in on that a little bit and get you to understand the importance of this technique. The chi magnification process is a concept that combines both the physical as well as the mental. I use the concept of mind force because just like the masters of old, the gurus, the guys that were training years and years ago, they talked about how the mind moves the chi. It's so important. You've got to learn the process of connecting the mind to the body. Everyone talks about mind, body, spirit, but they don't really have a connection, a way to connect it. They just say do this and it'll work. I've trained with a lot of guys in Qigong, Qi power, that had a great physical connection, but their mental connection was very weak. I had some guys that were really good mentally, and yet they didn't really have any good physical techniques to build it up. So what you're getting is you're getting the best of both worlds, and then we tie it in with the internal side, or I call it internal power centers, which is really a spiritual side. You're building an intuition to sensitivity that you've never had before. But chi magnification is taking that physical energy and hyper-focusing on a particular thing for chi manipulation purposes. Give you an example, is a lot of times people, when they say, can I feel your chi? You know, we do a palm press, right? And you can feel that chi. You can feel it bouncing, right? And then people want to feel the chi. They want to do this like the palm, you know, they want to push somebody back and use their chi to push somebody back. Well, you know, sometimes it's not necessarily using your chi to push them back like as if you were just pushing them with your hands. It's more or less you're getting their body to react to the chi so that it moves because you're hitting it in all these different spots. The other thing you want to do is hyper-focus the chi. Is let's say this. Now, you should be able to feel this. If you're sensitive, you can actually feel me sending that chi. Just relax a little bit, close your eyes, and you can feel those circles. And it's a pretty broad base. Now, if I take that same chi and I focus it this way, this kind of configuration, right? You can still feel that, but it feels like I'm drawing on you. Whereas this is a wider band. The reason I bring that up is you want to learn how to focus your chi in different ways. This is more of a broad stroke, if you want to call it that. And this is a very fine stroke of chi. Laser beam-like effect. Now, I've got a light right here that I'm using here in the studio to film with. And if I wanted to magnify that chi, that energy from that light, I could focus on it. Stare directly into that energy, and I could take my hand over here, and if you were standing right here, I could focus that energy through the light, through my hand, into you, and you would feel that. Okay, you might feel it a lot, you might feel it not that much. I've done it. I did a video years ago where one of my students was standing there, and he actually had his hand up, and he pulled his hand away. He could feel the heat. That's a chi magnification. It's a direct connection of chi. And it's not that hard. You think, wow, that's an amazing technique. But understand this. All techniques are amazing until you know how to do them. And everything can be learned, and that's what we're teaching here, is that you can learn these techniques. You don't have to be a master. The difference between you and maybe somebody that calls themselves a master is that you've put in the flight time and you know the technology to get from point A to point B. I mean, I know many guys, there's probably people in this class right now who have been training for 20 years and still don't have really good chi energy because they've been training in the wrong system. And I'm sorry about that, but that's just the way it is. In this system, you're going to feel the energy. You're going to have a recognition of the energy, recognition of the mind force, recognition of that spirit as we go down the line. And so you magnify that chi. So I can magnify it from the light to another place. I could take something very cold and I could transfer that energy out. Now, what's the connection between that chi magnification and the mind force? It's taking that mind force, chi, the mind moves the chi, right? And start thinking of the chi in so many different ways. Not just like I just showed you, like feeling that little chi, right? But using the chi in a much more glamorous way. In a way that allows you to get excellent results in whatever you do in your life. You know, you can walk in a room and you have a great attitude, and a lot of times people think, hey, it's just an attitude, it's chi, it's an energy. Well, see, here's the thing, is if you walk into a room and you feel really good and you make people feel good, part of that is the attitude and the mind force, but a lot of it's the physical energy. Well, can you imagine how much more that will be when you have a physical presence coming through?